What's up everybody? Welcome back to the Art of Crypto, the birthplace of absolutely legendary gains. In this video, we are going to talk about Bitcoin and explain to you like a few major charts that I need you guys to take a look at, because this week is potentially going to be pretty huge for crypto, either this week or next week. But either way, time is close when something big is about to happen. So if you want to get a clear idea on what exactly is going to be happening, make sure you stick around to the end of this video. Before I dive right into it though, if you haven't already followed me on Twitter, this is where I'm sharing like any charts that I might be looking at, and as well as any trades that I might be looking at. So if you guys just want the latest market updates, as well as get access to all the trades that I might be looking at, because it does take quite some time to make a video, follow me on Twitter at _theartofcrypto. So for now, let's get back into Bitcoin. So remember last week, or rather 2 weeks ago, I made a video saying that if you were to get 40,800, well, I changed it to 600 now, but let's put it back to 800, right? Give or take. So if you got 40,800 and 39,600, make sure you buy Bitcoin. And for those of you who bought, congratulations, because once, we predicted the exact bottom, right? You caught this and bam, you got an 11 to 12% pump. And if you timed your altcoins along with this level right here, so for me, I bought some altcoins when, we got to this level on Bitcoin right here, and those altcoins went to do like 20 to 30% pumps. But I digress. So at the moment, we might have caught the temporary bottom. So right now, our job, our next mission is to figure out if that is indeed the bottom, or, could we still see more downside? And this is what I will hopefully try to answer in this video, as well as give you the next scenario for what's going to happen to Bitcoin next. So first thing we have to understand is, in my opinion, at the moment, we are having two equal lows right here. So if you just pay attention to this, this low right here, if I just draw this line back to down here, you can see that we have relatively equal lows. And what that tells me, and what it should tell you as well, is that from the perspective of a market maker, because, something that you need to understand about the crypto markets, and as well as just any financial market, right? Could be stocks, could be Forex, could be, as long as it is a financial instrument, there is the presence, there is the involvement of institutions, institutional traders, and they are the ones who account for most of the volume that you see on the chart. So whenever you see the chart moving, that is the doing of the market makers and their algorithms. So the sooner you understand that all of these markets are manipulated, and the sooner that you learn to see the markets from the perspective of the market maker, the better, because you can trade with them and not against them. So right here, we foresaw, we called the top right here. And right now, I managed to call the bottom as well. And I gave you guys the exact scenarios that would happen. So the next scenario that's probably going to happen, at least from the perspective, from my knowledge of market makers and how they like to do things, is the fact that whenever you get equal lows or relatively equal lows, there is liquidity down here that can be run, right? I want you to think of it this way. If retail traders, that is me, that is you, or at least, it's probably not us, because we are educated in the methods and the ways of the market maker. But for most people, they're not familiar with how the market makers like to do things. So for them, they're going to be looking at this level and they're going to be thinking, wow, this is strong support. Look at how Bitcoin bounced off this level and reversed and did like a 2x. So the next time it comes back to this level, we're going to have to long that, right? Well, that's what they would do. In fact, we would buy Bitcoin again if it really did come back down to 39,600. I will explain more on that later. But what you need to understand also is everyone's going to be looking at this as support, and everyone's going to place their stop loss right underneath this level, right? And the institutions and the market makers know this because they have access to liquidation data. So what they're going to do is they're going to target this liquidity, right? Because it's just easy liquidity that can be run, right? They're going to stop everyone out before they reverse the market to target the buy side liquidity. So everyone who shorted right here, they probably still have their stop losses in place. Or if they're stupid enough to short and not take any profit and just leave their position as a naked position, as in, running a position without a stop loss, that's a naked position. If they're stupid enough to do that, then they're going to get run eventually, right? In 2 months, we're definitely going to be going back into the 50Ks, definitely going back into definitely 50Ks, right? I'm not going to promise 60Ks, but definitely 50Ks. So in the event that this liquidity gets run, right, I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios here. So the first scenario is, you're going to run this liquidity down here, right? You're going to wick just a tiny bit below it, and then you're going to reverse, right? And you're going to target the buy side liquidity, right? That is, if the market makers decide that this liquidity down here is the final bit of liquidity that they want to target, right? If that is the case, in fact, even if that isn't the case, right, what you are going to see likely, right, is you're just going to wick just a tiny bit below this, right? So what I want you to do, I mean, I'm not going to want you to do this, right? It's not financial advice, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do, right? I've done this many, many times, right? It's a very easily like rinse and repeatable process. You see how there's equal lows over here. I mentioned that if we were to target this level, if we were to reach this level, we would wick, like go back to last week's video and you'll know exactly what I mean. If we reach this level, we are going to wick just a tiny bit below it and then we are going to reverse, right? It might not reverse by a lot, but this reversed by almost 5%. And I would argue that I can make pretty good money catching 5% moves every couple days. But that, like a lot of you might not be Bitcoin traders, right? So you can time your altcoins with this. So a 5% pump on Bitcoin would probably equate to about a 10% pump for most altcoins, especially if they're strong altcoins. For example, Phantom or Avalanche, or even recently, Cardano ADA. So for those altcoins, they're probably going to pump like 10%. For Dogecoin, you get the idea. So you don't have to use this knowledge in particular to Bitcoin, right? You can apply this to your altcoins as well. So what's likely going to happen is once the liquidity here is run, you're going to get some kind of a pump. Could be 2%, could be 5%. I doubt it will be more than 5%, but that is a trade that you can take, right? Just be sure that when you do set your stop loss, right? Let's assume that we will enter on this wick right here. So we will enter right at about 39,600. So what we'll do is we'll probably set a stop loss of about 3%, right? Just to give it a little bit of a leeway, because you don't like the thing about liquidity sweeps is it tends to be pretty volatile, right? Because so many liquidations and stop losses are down here, you're going to get like a cascade of orders that just suddenly just triggers all of a sudden when it hits that level. So it might be a little bit too volatile. So I would even recommend that you run a manual stop loss before, the volatility dies down. And I'm going to get into volatility later, right? I'm going to tell you why I believe that a big move for Bitcoin is coming soon, right? So stick around till later down in the video. And if you feel like you've learned something new from this video, something that maybe other people do not talk about, it would help me a lot if you could drop a like button on this video. It's a small gesture, but it really helps a lot. So you're going to want to set a stop loss that gives enough leeway, or just use a manual stop loss before the volatility dies down. But what's likely going to happen is just going to wipe the liquidity here, wick just a tiny bit below it and bounce by like 3%. So that's going to be the first trade that you're going to be able to take. Although that is not the trade that I would like to, because I'm a swing trader, right? And I want to catch these bottom moves that lead to a multi-month, definitely multi-week uptrend. So I believe that is going to come at about 37,500. More specifically, right, we're likely going to get another event like this, where you get a 10% pump. Once you clear the liquidity down here, you're likely going to go back to at least 39,500 and 4,800. So that's going to be 2 take profit points that you can reference in order to take some profit once you get some Bitcoin at this level. And by the way, all of these levels I mentioned in last week's video, nothing has changed about these levels, right? I know a lot of you are keen, like, oh, crypto is so fast moving, we're going to have to place like 20 trades a day. It's a lot more boring than that, especially when it comes to Bitcoin, because what's important to understand about Bitcoin is you want to always do your analysis from the macro perspective. You want to do this from a higher time frame. A lot of beginner traders I see get really caught up in like the 15-minute or 5-minute, and they're like, oh, it's pumping on the 5-minute, but they haven't done the analysis on a high time frame, and it's a way to get wrecked. So from a higher time frame perspective, this is probably not going to be the bottom, right? I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the bottom if we do get here, right? If we do not just simply reverse from here and just go on a full-on uptrend, this is very likely not going to be the bottom. And I called it right now. I called it. It's not going to be the bottom, period. The reason why I think so is because whenever you still are doing liquidity hunts, right? Whenever you're still doing liquidity sweeps, it means that the downtrend is not over. It means that the algorithms have not flipped to target the buy side liquidity and they're still going for the sell side. So, you're still in a downtrend. So then you want to look for where is a possible area where they might want to fill in some unfilled liquidity, some imbalances, or any of that sort. And later on, I'm going to bring up an order flow chart so that we can understand more about this. But for now, what you need to understand is expect a similar move if and when, like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but judging if we were to follow through with our current analysis where we are expecting a liquidity sweep down here, then we will expect this level with a reasonable chance, reasonable odds that this level is going to get hit. And when it does, it's going to be a similar event such as this one. So that's trade number 2 that you can take. The same rules apply for this trade that you take right here, right? Same rules apply. So then we have to figure out where is going to be a possible bottom. And in order to do that, I'm going to look at these 2 levels right here, like this block, basically. I'm going to look at this block right here. Now I know this is a very wide block. So stay with me here. This is what you call a bullish order block, right? I want you to understand, I want you to see right now that in this chart right here, in between these 2 zones right here, there is basically a lack of price action, right? Between these 2 zones right here. This is what you call an imbalance. So imbalances tend to get filled eventually most of the time. So in that case, this is the reason why I do not expect this to be the bottom, because there is no liquidity to support this theory. And if I simply bring up the VPVR indicator, which I just simply use to help visualize things, you can see that there was no liquidity down here. And that's why you see just a sharp drop through this area, right? Because there's no liquidity here to support the price action, right? And I'll bring up the order flow chart later, but pay attention to how much liquidity you start to get. And I promise you, I haven't brought up this VPVR indicator in weeks, like a couple of weeks. I only bring this up when I need help to visualize things for you guys, right? Because eventually the price action tells you what you need to know. You don't really need indicators. Let's just put it that way. Just price action alone is sufficient, right? The greatest indicator is price action. I'm not going to get into that whole speech now, but just understand that this is where volume picks up. This is where the POC is located at, right? Which is right at about 33,000. So I'm definitely going to be looking at potentially, this level right here. Let me just remove this one. So for potential bottoms, and I don't care how low the price is going to go, right? I'm just going to set 4 levels here. And this is where I'm going to be placing my heaviest orders: 36,000, 34,600, 33,300, and 32,300. I'm going to bring up an order flow chart later, but for now, actually, let's move it down a little, right? 32,120. This is on the Binance futures chart, right? So just translate it however you want into your own chart, right? If you're using Coinbase, then go to BTC USD Coinbase, right? And mark down these levels yourselves. It's going to be a little bit different, okay? So this is where I'm going to expect, if we do get here, only if we do get here, the bottom is going to come somewhere between 4 levels, right? And in fact, it might not immediately show itself to be the bottom, right? It could be this kind of a wick right here, right? It could be, or it could be this kind of an accumulation pattern right here. So we might just come down and then we spend a couple months down here, right? We spend a couple months down here and then bam, 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 right? You go target the buy side liquidity, right? So either way, I'm just going to be dollar cost averaging, to put it simply. I'm not going to predict the bottom. I know the bottom is going to come within this block, but where in this block, I'm not sure. So I'm just going to set orders and I'm going to dollar cost average, right? And just to give you a little bit more confluence from this, we're going to bring up the order flow, right? You can see that this is on the 12-hour. You have an NPOC at a naked point of control at 4,800. So this shows that in the event that you do go back to this level, it's probably going to act as pretty strong support temporarily, right? Temporarily. And right here, you can see that we have a UFA at 44,500, which sort of acts as a magnet. It tells you where there is just buy side liquidity that is just asking to be taken out, right? Just to put it very simply. So eventually we're going to go target 44,500. Eventually. It's probably not going to happen right now just because of how market conditions are looking like. So let's move on to the weekly chart for Bitcoin and let's try to see if we can glean anything from this. Probably have to set the interval a little bit high as well. Probably set it 500. And you can see that right at about 32,000, right at about 32,000, which lines up with my theory right here at 32,120 that you have a UFA, right? Which again is a level that price tends to be attracted to, right? It acts sort of like a magnet. No, I'm not bringing this up just to show you, oh wow, what an expert I am. This is just to add an extra layer of confluence into my analysis, and that's how you should approach your analysis, right? Just start from something and then look for stuff that adds confluence to your theory. The more confluence you have, the more certain you can be that this is, potentially going to be a bottom, right? And that is like for the bottom. And if we move on to the top, right, you can see that there is another UFA at 57,000, which is what I said that in 2 months, we're probably going to 2 to 3 months, right? We're probably going to be back into the high 50Ks. And this is the level that you're going to be drawn to on a macro level, right? 57,000. So that's the analysis on Bitcoin done, right? I still have a few charts that I want to go over that's really important, that will give you a gauge, an understanding of what's going to happen next, especially this week. But before I get into that, if you've watched through this video, like through this point of this video so far, I'm sure I have mentioned a lot of concepts that might have gone over your head, right? Just stuff that you've never heard before. And I'm just here to say, if you want to just take your trading game up to the next level, maybe you just want to learn from, just invest in your education or whatever, right? I'm just going to show this. The private Discord group, okay? In here, you're going to get access to the trading course but more importantly, you're going to get access to all of the coins that I'm looking at, as well as all of the trades that I might be taking. If that's something you're interested in, just getting first access to all of this, you're going to want to check out the private Discord group, right? We're making money every single day, and chances are you're probably going to pay this off really quickly. So link is in the description below. Check it out right now. Let's get back into a couple of charts that I want to discuss before ending off this video, and very important charts, by the way. And also just a bonus for whoever is still, in fact, I'm probably going to keep this till later, right? I'm just going to share like 3 coins that I'm definitely going to make a video on this week that have the potential to pump really, really nicely. So the next chart I'm going to talk about is Bitcoin dominance, right? It's really important that you understand how to base your trades off Bitcoin dominance as well as the other major charts, right? Because these are the major indexes, and it's always important that you have a look at them before you start taking any trades, because what they're likely going to do is they're going to give you an idea of how the market's going to move. And in this case, Bitcoin dominance tells you what percentage of the crypto total market cap that Bitcoin is taking up. So you can imagine the lower this goes, the better it is for altcoins, because they're going to have more money flowing into them. But the higher this goes, altcoins are probably going to bleed out. So just to give you, I just want you to take a look at this, right? It's at a very key level right now, a key support level, in fact, and it just bounced off this, right? So this is probably, again, goes back to what I was saying earlier about confluence. This adds a little bit of confluence. It could be confirmation bias. You could absolutely call it confirmation bias. But for me, this adds a little bit of confluence to the fact that we might be going, just a tiny bit down, right? To clear out that liquidity. Because if Bitcoin dumps, chances are Bitcoin dominance is going to start rising. Altcoins are going to start bleeding, right? I hope this is starting to make sense now. So just to put this into perspective a little bit for you, you can check out the Bitcoin dominance against USDT perpetual futures. This is on Binance. Check it out. It's been finding really good support. Like, this looks like bullish market structure to me, at least, right? You're getting around the bottom, which is a parabolic chart pattern. Generally it's bullish, but just pay attention to that, right? Not only that, you're getting Bitcoin volatility index telling you that it's really reset right now. Like, look at this, it's at 2, right? If we were to zoom out all the way and you plot out all of the major, just key levels where historically Bitcoin volatility has found support or resistance at, you can see that we are on the lower spectrum of this chart right now. And it's really, it's really reset. So what this tells you is there's a good chance that volatility is about to pick up soon, right? Today is it's a 3-day weekend, right? Today is a holiday. That's why the institutions are not involved yet, right? The institutions are not back to work yet. And that's why you see nothing happening to Bitcoin today. But chances are by Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to see Bitcoin volatility start moving. When that happens, just remember everything that I've said in this video. Besides that, you're going to want to look at total 2 as well. Now, this chart is interesting because it does not paint the picture that we might be going down. Because if we look at total 2 against Bitcoin, you can see that altcoins have been performing really, really well against Bitcoin so far. In fact, for basically since the beginning of January. And at the moment, you have this pattern right here, which is a cup and handle. For those of you who are familiar with technical patterns, it's a really bullish pattern. Based on this pattern, you can say that the measured move is from the bottom of the cup, right? And you extend it up over there. Yeah, it's probably better done when I'm not on a logarithmic chart. So let's do that. Let's remove the logarithmic chart. So we're in the bottom of cup, extended up over here. And you can see that the measured move is, we're looking at a 2x increase for basically the altcoin market cap. And that's going to bring in a lot of money into crypto, and altcoins are going to absolutely explode. So this is painting a different picture, except I might not get bullish so quickly, because at the moment we are banging on a macro resistance, right? It's pretty near all-time highs right now. There's no reason, right? I mean, there's reason to expect that we might pump from here, but the odds are not in your favor. Let's just put it that way, right? Maybe this is going to be a 60 down, 40 up sort of odds. Maybe it could be 70-30 as well. So definitely pay attention to this. You know, all I'm trying to say in this video is it's a little bit uncertain at the moment, right? I cannot be sure that this is what's going to happen, but what I want to do and what I hopefully have done in this video is to give you guys sort of a little warning so that you guys can prepare for the bad scenario if it were to happen. Because we don't like to get caught off guard with stuff like this. So if you watch until this point of the video so far, you know, here's the bonus that I'm promising you. I know it's been a pretty long video, but bear with me. And I promise that's not a pun as well, you know, bear with me, you know, going down, bear with me. It's all right. So Litecoin, right? The three coins that you want to pay attention to, at least in Q1, right? For the next 2 months, I believe these coins have the potential to melt some faces. First one's going to be Litecoin. Check out this pattern, cup and handle, really bullish, really bullish. And Litecoin against Bitcoin, right? You can see that it's finding support pretty much near the all-time low against Bitcoin right here, and it's bouncing. So hopefully we get a full-on reversal here, because we do not want to see this go below this low right here, which is at 2,870 Satoshis. If that happens, right, we're going to go into negative price discovery for Litecoin against Bitcoin, and that's not something we want to see. That is going to ensure that Litecoin is going to continue staying a stable coin. But, you know, I'm going to make a video about this definitely sometime this week, right? But this video, like this segment here is just to give you, an idea of what coins are potentially going to be performing well. In this case, it's going to be Litecoin, ADA, and Solana. Sorry, not Solana. Litecoin, ADA, and Chainlink. Right, these three coins are looking absolutely primed to explode at the moment. I'll definitely make a video within this week. And for those of you who have watched until this point so far, you know, it would really help me if you could just write down the word, you know, bonus down in the comment section below. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. And if you found this video valuable and helpful, right, chances are other people are going to find it helpful as well. So it would do a lot of people help if this video gets shared out even more than, you know, it is right now. So if you could do that, I'd be immensely thankful. And just for you guys, because I know only the most loyal subscribers stay until the end, I do have to apologize for the fact that I have not made a single video this year. And that's because I was mainly doing a lot of back-end work and planning out how I'm going to bring more value to you guys this year, right? I've decided that I'll hopefully, right, make my videos a little bit more structured and a bit less freeform, because previously, you know, if you notice how this video has been a little bit more structured, mention that down in the comment section below as well, because I scripted out this video kind of before filming it. Whereas usually I just go off the top of my head. So I'm going to do like more educational videos as well, right? Just teaching you guys the fundamentals of trading and stuff that you want to pay attention to, you know, psychology, strategies, you know, indicators, how to read the charts, how to trade, basically. I'm going to try to make more videos like that. So it took me a little bit of time to plan those out. And that's why I haven't been making any videos. So, you know, stay tuned. Hopefully this year we're going to make some real money, like real good money together. And if that's something you're interested in, stick around, subscribe, turn on the bell notification. Let's get 2022, boys. For now, may the gains be with you, my friend, and peace.